you again, Thomas. You introduced yourself yesterday. Not everybody here was there though.
Okay. Yeah.
So I wanted to highlight that yesterday. You did introduce yourself yesterday, right?
I did. You're correct.
You look different right now than you were in
Well,
the
I'm
car.
not in the car anymore.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was in the car. Right.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I just want to make sure I've got the right Thomas.
I probably had a ball cap on too.
So I think it's really cool that you came to Coaching Institute via Eric, your son.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Very
Definitely. Cool. He spoke very highly of it, or continues to speak very highly of it. And yeah, it seems like a good program.
Yeah, well, I just love that. And I love that we're doing this first session together. So tell me if it's okay, we'll just jump into the coaching, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. And I want you to know that, you know, we're both being real here. We're learning as we go. So I'm gonna be kind of jumping from coach mode at times to pointing out to you and the group what step we're on. So it's a little different than a regular coaching session.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, so right now, and I kind of, for me, this is a very, like, the session's very in me. So I'm going to make a purposeful effort to point out where we're at and how long we're going to spend. So we're going to start with the elevation step, and I'm going to look at my clock, and I'm going to try to do this in about 3 minutes, guys, just so you know, as a coach, that's my goal. Might take 7 minutes. It doesn't matter. So Thomas, let's start with, if you don't mind kind of sharing with me something you love doing. I know yesterday you mentioned a couple things, but if anything else comes to mind right now that you just enjoy in your life right now or in the past.
Sure. Well, I can start with one that's kind of fun for me. When I was a teenager, I rode dirt bikes, and I got my first dirt bike. It was a little 75cc Honda dirt bike when I was 13 years old. And I made a best friend named Jeff who had a bike just like mine, and we rode together until we were out of high school when we were 18, 19 years old.
That's awesome.
Then I got out of it. I never rode dirt bikes again. And I recently had a barbecue in my backyard and invited all the neighbors to come. And there was a new neighbor on the street who's actually older than me. I'm 62 now, he's 71. This is about 5 years ago. Turns out he rides dirt bikes. Even in his late 60s, he was still riding dirt bikes. And he invited me to join him. And 5 years went by. I never took him up on it because I was working, but I've retired. I have more time now. And yeah, we went out, and we've been riding dirt bikes since March. And so I went out and I bought myself a new dirt bike. And so here I am, 62 years old, and I'm into riding dirt bikes again. And it's so much fun. It connects me with my younger self. I feel all these feelings and emotions come back to me when I ride that I felt when I was 13, when I was out riding my dirt bike for the very first time, and had freedom to go far because I had a motorized vehicle to ride to go far. And that whole sense of adventure and enthusiasm is sort of rekindled this thing that I mean, I find adventure and enthusiasm in other parts of my life, but doing it this way with people who are enthusiastic about it, even though we're all now a generation older than we were when we started initially, maybe some of us 2 generations older than we were when we started. It's a whole lot of fun, and it reminds me that, I mean, not only do I enjoy it, but it reminds me that it's possible to reconnect with parts of myself that I thought I left behind.
That's amazing.
A generation ago.
Would you, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so happy you do this. It's just, it brings so much joy to just think about it. And now could we take it to a deeper level where you close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that, or you don't have to close your eyes, but just go more inside to that experience of maybe the last few times you've done a ride, and just what it's like on the sensory level for you, what comes to you. Let me know if you feel it or you see it or it's thoughts about it, whatever you experience.
Yeah, I can feel it. It's been interesting. Our first ride was in March, and now here we are at the end of April, so we'll be into our second month of riding here pretty soon. The thing that I think of most in that is my sense of connection with the motorcycle on the terrain. The terrain we ride in is akin to, basically the best way to think of it is like hiking trails that you might hike on. And if you imagine really rugged hiking trails, it can get that way. Sometimes it's just a gravel road and it's flat and it's no big deal, but sometimes it's very technical and very challenging. And I think that over the half a dozen times I've been out now, that feeling of my old muscle memory coming back. I feel that. I can feel it right now as I'm sitting here just thinking about it, that the way I'm on the motorcycle, the way I stand up over rough terrain and move and maneuver the motorcycle, sometimes slowly, sometimes at a walking pace, crossing through a stream or going up a bank or going over a big tree, fallen tree or a tree stump or something like that. There's a oneness that is achieved between the person and the motorcycle, right? The man and the
Yeah.
machine, right? And it's a tool, and the return of the muscle memory. I didn't know I still had muscle memory from being a teenager. But 50 years later, here I am, and I feel that coming back. And every time I go out, I feel more of it coming back. So yeah, it's a neat feeling, physically and mentally, to have that muscle memory return.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you. So let's just take a moment just to appreciate that ability in you to go into that and to experience that connection that you have with the machine and with the trail, and just take a deep breath and just letting that be really expanded in you. I feel it in me too, by the way.
If I can, I'd like to just add one more thing that
Sure.
came to me as we're talking. In the years that I've been away from this, really since I was 19, I have always continued to love nature and to get out into nature. And my means of doing so have typically been non-motorized. So I do a lot of backpacking. I do a lot of mountain biking. And for a while, I remember thinking that I was glad I was out there doing those things without a motor, because it's more pure, more essential. And since I've gotten back into the mountain biking and experienced the camaraderie with friends who like to do it, I feel okay with having a motor and
That's great.
an exhaust pipe,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it's okay. It's like, I'm still here. I'm in the place that I belong, and I'm having fun, and I'm doing something that reconnects me to my youth, and it's great. I feel like I'm in nature, and when I'm in nature, I'm where I belong. And if I'm there and I'm playing with my friends and we have motorcycles, that's okay. So that feeling that I need to be pure, I need to be non-motorized, I need to not have pollution coming out of my exhaust pipe when I'm doing it, that's okay. I don't have a problem with that, and I feel like I'm on the stage that I am welcome to. I'm part of. I'm at home, even if I have a motor with me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for adding that. That is amazing. And we're already gathering resources here. Did you feel that? Like, it wasn't just about that thing you love doing. You brought in a lot of your connection to oneness, to nature, to friendship. This is all resources.
Mhm.
So let's look now at what your goal is. What's something you'd like to kind of make happen either out in the world or on the inner level in your life? Did anything show up as you were thinking about a goal for this session or a focus point?
Yeah, I think a goal that has been with me for a long time and continues to be on my list, and I wrote it, a part of it in the chat. We have an older home, and I've raised my kids here. My wife Tammy and I have lived in this house since 1998, so it'll be 24 years in September. Our kids were 3 and 6 when we moved here. Eric was 3, and now they're grown and they're out of the house. They're 20. They'll be turning 27 and 30 this year. Go figure. But the house needs a lot of work, and I've always prided myself as being a do-it-yourselfer, but I've never had enough time to do anything. And now I'm retired. I have more time to do things, but I have to tell you, prioritizing doesn't get any easier. It's like it doesn't. I don't seem to just have this plethora of free time to do things with and get to all my chores. So, but I do have a goal of having this home, this house, be well maintained.
Mhm.
And I want to do that. And a lot of the stuff I like to do myself. Some things I'll hire somebody else for, but the one I wrote down in the chat was to fix the windowsills, right? All the exterior windowsills are rotting, they all need to be fixed. And I'd love to get to that and get that done. But just generally having the home I want to be like the master of the house.
Right.
I just
You
want
want
to
it,
be the man
taken
makes it
care
all
of.
work, and it all
Yeah.
fits. So
Okay, that's great. So some of what you shared, one of the things that stood out to me is prioritizing. So
mhm.
tell me about prioritizing, how that fits in here to this goal of taking care of your home. And also it sounds like doing a lot of it yourself, or maybe not doing it all yourself. What is prioritizing about?
Yeah, I think I think the prioritizing is super important. I just
So is it deciding what comes first, like the windowsills, or what the steps are, what you need? How can we go
probably
deeper
what
into
comes
that?
first, and it's the home maintenance and home repair activities being prioritized against
Oh,
other things that aren't part of the home. So figuring out which home project to tackle first probably isn't as big a deal as deciding that, okay, on this day, I'm going to get up and I'm going to I'm going to grab one windowsill, maybe the one right here that I'm sitting in front of in my office, and I'm going to fix that sill, and I'm going to get that done, and I'm going to move on to the next one after that, but I'm not going to try to do 2 at once. And then I'm going to actually fix the sill on Tuesday instead of going dirt biking, or something like that.
okay,
Right?
okay.
So, right.
Okay, so setting the date is really important, and you've
Yeah.
already been able to narrow down that goal into one window at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So let's just bring in some resources right now again. So just kind of going into, how do you go into your more creative mind? Do you like to close your eyes? Do you like to take a deep breath? What helps you?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can go into my creative mind with my eyes open pretty
Okay.
well.
Okay, great.
Right now it's kind of funny because I'm looking, like, you're down here, so now I'm looking at you, but now I'm looking at the camera here.
Yeah.
And there's something about looking at the camera on Zoom
Yeah.
calls that helps me kind of focus in on what I'm trying to
Oh,
say. It's just funny how it
nice.
works, It's just
Yeah,
like a little
yeah,
bullseye.
that is.
So
Yeah. And I mean, so now that you're bringing this up, when you're talking, I'm, as a coach, looking at you, because not the camera, because I want to take you in, really see you and everything. So So that's a good thing when you're the coach. As the
Mhm.
client, do whatever puts you in the zone. So it's perfect to look at the camera or whatever, or look out the window if you want, whatever you want to
Yeah.
look at.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about this space of resource in you. You spoke about the forest or the trail, the ruggedness. Yesterday you shared with me a little bit about your spiritual background. Um, you touched on friendship and oneness. What feels to you right now, or all of it, what could we first kind of call in as a resource to assist you?
Well, so I am empowered by my friendships. So I have friends who mean a lot to me, and we know each other well, and we support each other. Some of those friends are really good at getting the stuff done around their house. Right? Some
Ah,
of them,
okay.
it's like a thing. It's
Yeah.
like a I don't know. They're the husband, they're the dad, they're the man of the house. They're going to get it done, right? And some of my friends are really supportive that way. In fact, I have a friend who did all his own windowsills, and he's like, "Hey, I can help you with this. Give me a call." And I've called him 2 or 3 times. He's come over. He's lent me tools and stuff like that. So I do have friends who can actually be like technical advisors
Yeah.
to me to help me get the
That's
things done.
that's incredible. That's an
Yeah.
incredible resource. Now I want to, if it's okay with you, check out what it's like on the more inner level to feel that resource of friendship and support. Where do you feel it in your body, or do you feel it behind you, or do you see their face? How do you experience internally that resource of those friends and their example to you also?
Yeah, I think I probably feel that more in my heart. It's like where I feel anxiety. I also feel that like in my heart, and the friendship seems like it's almost like it dilutes the anxiety, or it's a salve, to go kind of help kind of quell the anxiety. So it's in the same spot, and it makes me feel capable, that what I want to do can be done, and it's not just me against, the world. It's me and my friends, and
Yeah, I
they
love
can help
that.
me,
Okay, me and my
Yeah.
friends. And I loved your wording. I'm writing it down, the solve that quells the anxiety.
Mhm.
So, is the anxiety a resistance?
Oh, well, yeah, because I think that I will sometimes do something else that I enjoy that's not even related to working on my house.
Mhm.
Um, my wife has been very helpful at pointing out to me that, with all the time I'm spending riding dirt bikes now, I probably could have gotten a lot of windowsills done. Right? But, you know, I, I don't know. You got to have fun in life, right? It can't all just be work.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
the thing
So
is,
that's
I
also a
think that
resource, your ability to laugh right now. Let's just acknowledge that. You brought up the resistance and your partner, your wife's, suggestions, and you're able to laugh. So that's a
right,
beautiful resource.
right.
Yeah.
So I'll mention another resource because you just
Yeah.
reminded me of it, which is that I do feel like I have I have a pretty good relationship with my higher self. I mean, I feel like I really get the whole concept of me, like who am I, right? I'm not this body. I'm not even this mind. I'm that who can step back away from all of this and look at it and watch myself and see how I'm reacting, and know that my feelings are not me and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
in that higher self, I feel a profound level of gratitude for the ability to be here and be alive and have this life.
Yeah.
And regardless of the challenges that I'm facing along the way, the chance to face those challenges is so rare, it's so beautiful, it's so precious that they don't really get me down. It's more like, okay, I just need to figure out how to do this because I don't want to have to keep thinking about it all the time. I want to move on to other stuff. But even if I'm hung up on something, and there are some things in my life I've been hung up on for years, but I still value the fact that I'm here
Yeah.
to live and to have these challenges. It's a blessing. So
Yeah, that is great.
yeah.
So let's just go with exactly what you said, just doing it, not thinking about it. And I'm going to guide you a little bit here. This is going to be a little bit more like an energy coaching. Okay.
Okay.
So just doing, not overthinking, and leaning in to this higher self that you so clearly sense, whether you sense it as an expansion around you, a clarity, a truth, feeling that gratitude for your life. And just bring in the friendship as a resource. In your own way now, bring in your resources and your higher self to empower this, just doing it, not overthinking it. And just let yourself go on a little journey now. For about a minute, we'll be quiet, Thomas, and you just be with that however you want to be. The camera doesn't need to be on you. So you just do this in your own way. And I'm just going to give words as pointers here from what you said. Feeling that friendship in your heart. Releasing and allowing anything to unwind so that the just doing of it can take priority. The expansion, the truth of your witnessing, your gratitude for life. All your resources of your experience in nature and on the bike. And just allow whatever needs to happen, whether it's unraveling or empowering, or the solve that quells any anxiety. And if you wish to bring your breath in, taking a deep breath or feeling the ground under your feet, include your body. This is an embodied experience. And if there's any messages or metaphors that you're given, you don't have to understand them. You can just invite them, whether it's a kind of gift of a memory or a word or a vision of yourself or the feeling inside of you. Just invite that. And you might want to invite it even in through the back body. And just leaning in, leaning back to that support, that invisible network of support you have of your life experiences, your community, and your higher self and nature. And you let me know when you feel complete. Take all the time you need.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay. All right, cool. So tell me a little bit about what you're feeling now.
Well, I feel that feel that the act of making a nice home it feels to me to be very central and very, related to and important to my sense of being a dad. I mean, this is a home where I've raised my family along with Tammy, and this house has served us well. It's kept us warm and dry and safe, and I feel like I don't know, it's like sometimes a house takes on almost like a spiritual quality, like the house is an entity, and it's given a lot, and I feel like I want to give back, and maybe making the house be beautiful, and if the house can be proud of itself, right? I'd like my house to feel proud of that it has, a nice coat of paint and a good roof, and that it can continue to do its function, which is to care for the family inside of it. And with respect to specifically to the windowsills, I mean, when they're rotted, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. The water seeps in through the windowsills and gets in between the siding of the house and the frame of the house, and that's not good. And I wouldn't want to have that in me, and I don't think my house would want to have it either. And there is a certain sense of I'll go back to the sense of oneness, of me with my house and my yard. It's like I want this to be something that is part of my, my existence, and not just a chore that I kind of run away from at every chance. So that's kind of what I felt as I did that little journey there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. And what a different perspective to come from, that this house is its own being, and you are supporting it and doing its purpose, and that you're at one with that. That is incredible. I'm wondering who else it will serve. Yeah.
Well, and Tammy and I have decided too. I mean, we've talked about it. We may change our minds, but we both see ourselves staying here.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we'll live for another 30 plus years, right? We've been in this house for 24 years. I'd be fine living out the rest of my life in this house, but not with windowsills that leak.
Right. I love that.
Let's have a nice relationship with the house,
Yeah. That's a beautiful discovery. And
I also felt along the way there that I was thinking about my friends, and the ones, even the ones who don't really like house maintenance, but they like riding dirt bikes. I mean, they all understand the importance of taking care of your property.
Mhm.
Everybody understands that. Everybody in my life understands it. So there's a certain little kind of back and forth that goes on between guys who are out riding dirt bikes, like what we're doing when we're not riding dirt bikes. And it's like, oh yeah, I have to do this, oh, I have to do that, and well, how'd you do that, and how'd you do that? And it's like the little banter. It's a friendly banter, but I have these other friends who they love doing the stuff around the house. They're talking about the latest tool and the latest thing from Home Depot or something like that. And just by getting into this and making it happen, I kind of joined that club. I feel more in on it, of the people who are actually getting it done and not the people who are just avoiding it. I don't want to be the person who just avoids it. I'd rather be the one who says, yeah, well, hey, I got the windowsills done, and now I'm out riding the dirt bike, something like
Yeah,
that. So
I love that. Yes.
there is this bonding, this sort of back and forth between friends that
Yeah.
home maintenance is certainly a central part of that. I'm sure it is
Yeah.
for everybody who's got those kinds of issues, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting how you bring in this kind of flow of connection in all the different ways you're describing, the connection to the home, the connection with your wife, the connection with your future, the connection with your friends, the connection with your kind of your own ability to be the one who is doing this. It's beautiful. So I'm wondering if you would like to make a commitment of some kind to yourself, either to, I'm just going to throw out a suggestion, like every day to connect maybe with the spirit of your home and like talk to it for a moment, set your
Yeah,
intentions with it, just as a 1-minute reminder. That could be a practice. Another practice would be to say, on this day, this is my priority. Maybe I'm calling in the friend to help or whatever I need. What do I need to do to prepare? What feels right to you, or does something else show up?
yeah. No, I really like that. I like uh, the commitment to, I mean, honestly, the feeling of that my house is its own entity, and has its own spirit, right? I mean, this is something I never ever thought of that before just now. And when I look at it that way, the concept of what you just suggested of making a daily commitment to nurture that relationship, just like I nurture the other relationships in my family, and the house is certainly a central part of my family, right? Um, that's real powerful to me. I mean, I think that, God, what a great way of looking at it, you know? So yeah, I could probably do that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And I think from there, the actions will flow
Mm-hmm.
from that very empowering place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think I can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I by the way, I felt like that just came from you, actually. I would have never thought as a coach to, it was never in my mind to deepen your relationship with the house at that spiritual level. That was all you. All I was adding in was like, do you want to keep going with that realization?
Yeah. I think there's a lot there to
Yeah.
move forward with.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I mean, this lot, well, first of all, we lived here 24 years. It was a big decision to buy this house because we moved from one neighborhood in the city of Philadelphia out into the suburbs. And we bought this place for the school system it was in. But we also just lucked out at getting this house. It's in this wooded neighborhood. It's just beautiful here. And every day, every time I drive up to this house for 24 years, I relish the best decision, well, the second best decision I ever made in my life. The first one was marrying my wife, who's my partner here in the house. And together, this is our place and it's home, and it's always felt this way. And what a great way to move forward with it, to actually be taking care of, a member of the family, so I
Beautiful.
like it. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
thank you. Thank you for this great session. Yeah. Okay. Any questions that you have or anyone else has about how that session flowed? I think that was a great, really great representation of the steps. And I think I want to point out, what do I want to point out about that right now? I'm going to look at my notes as you guys come up with questions or shares, and you too, Thomas. And by the way, I'd love a picture of your house. Send me a picture. I love houses.
Okay.
And I love houses in the woods too. So
Okay.
okay.
Gladly.
Uh, Okay, someone said they missed the resistance part. So resistance came up very naturally as Thomas naturally shared that where the friendship was in his body, in the heart, there was also resistance, and that the friendship worked like a solve that what was your exact that quelled the anxiety. And the resistance that also came up was the joy of doing fun things like riding the bike instead of doing the work. I didn't feel the need to deepen any understanding of that because Thomas was doing his own healing there. He brought the friends right to the anxiety. He also brought in his wife reminding him, and he shared that in such a compassionate way. I wanted to highlight that. Not everyone shares that way. They might say, she or he just keeps, or they just keep bugging me about it. But it was shared so well. And so those were the bits of resistance that came. We didn't have to kind of dig it up anymore. Thomas, did you feel like there was any need to go further? Please share if you did.
Yeah, no, I actually felt that was pretty good. And one of the things that I mentioned about the resistance too was the time factor, that in my life, my working life over the last 40 years, I really haven't had time to do things. I've gotten some things done around the house, but more often than not, I would hire somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And now I'm retired. I want to do it myself because I like it. I like kind of being a do-it-yourselfer, and I like using my hands and things like that. But somehow, even though I'm retired now, I don't feel like I have that much more time. And I think that's when I mentioned that my wife pointed out that I've been spending X number of hours a week, either buying motorcycle gear or out riding my motorcycle with my friends. So yeah, I'm filling my life with other things because honestly, I mean, as much as I like do-it-yourself work, there are certain frustrations in the mechanics of repairing a windowsill, for example, which I have to kind of climb that learning curve. And it's a little bit easier just to decide to do something else and not get to that today.
Right.
So
right.
I think I feel like compelled to get to it.
Right.
Now that I feel like I'm actually taking care of the house, which is a member of the family, to me, that's super powerful.
That is super powerful. Yeah. And I also think like just from a coach's perspective, so everyone knows here, I was really trying to model this session strategy related to the goal. When it comes to this particular goal as a coach, I'm also thinking, what would I do in a future session with Thomas? So one thing I would do, we're going to do on the third day, which is boundaries. So kind of exploring what my client needs as healthy boundaries to prioritize his goal of taking care of the house. I might look at the way he wants to plan that part of his life. So it's not something bothering him all the time. So it's one day a week or specific days of the month, and how to bring in the support of other people, not necessarily contractors to do the work, but like the friend or a consultant or even just a helper. Like I do a lot of remodeling, not myself, but I hire other people to do it. And often the person who I get to do it has a helper. So I know even when we're doing it ourselves, sometimes we need a helper to hold something, to sand something, whatever it is. So I would look at all the planning. I don't only do the energy emotional work, also have sessions on the practical, also have sessions on the boundaries, maybe about the relationship too. And maybe even like if this was my client's central goal, let's say it's not Thomas, but it's someone who the house is at an urgent level and there's an obstacle to doing it, and the partner's pretty upset, I might have a planning session with the partner involved, the wife in this case. So just to kind of give you a sense of different ways that we would go about working on this kind of goal that isn't only this session.